All right, welcome to the Detroit Lions News podcast. I got some guests with me that I was really fortunate to have on the pod because they were one of my buddies who shall remain nameless. I told you guys in the he's like, I listen to these guys at work. I'm like, I told you a million times, you're not supposed to listen to stuff at work, but okay. But he recognized. He said, you got to give these guys a shot. I was like, all right, cool, because I like the guys who like have their own stuff, and it's just pretty fun to listen to. I listened to a couple of your pods, and I was like, man, I got to bring them on because I think you guys are going to be around for a while.
I appreciate that. Thank you. Thanks for inviting us.
Yeah, I think you guys, the Commanders, like I think you guys are going to be around for a while because I first of all,
yeah,
I gotta say I respect the hell out of you guys. Like I respect the hell out of the way you rebuilt your culture. I respect the way your quarterback plays the game. I think he plays the right way. I know you guys were a little bit hesitant when you got Jane Daniels because of even Todd. You were saying something earlier in the podcast. I mean, before the podcast, and you were saying, we didn't know what we were getting, and I was like I kind of knew what you were getting, but I was like. I was making fun of the Bears fans saying, I think they got the best quarterback in the draft because that was my number one quarterback. Yeah, and I even went along with I was like, this guy's gonna win Rookie of the Year, and no one took the. They didn't. Everyone was like, no, I'll take Drake May. I'll take Caleb Williams. I was like, no, I got this guy Jane Daniels. I think he's gonna be a pretty consummate pro. So yeah, I'm lucky to have you guys on the podcast, and it's gonna be fun talking some football with you guys.
Definitely. Yeah. Thanks for the invite. We're excited to be here and to be talking. We weren't opponents in the regular season. We had to get to the divisional round to play you guys. So that's super exciting.
The last time we played you guys had Carson Wentz as your quarterback. So that was a lot of
fun. We forgot about those days.
Yes, we forgot about those.
See, I go along with the same way because when we were in our first or second year of the rebuild, we were starting to make ground. Started 1-6, we ended up 6-2, which we barely missed the playoffs, but we missed the playoffs. Right. But it's just the fact that mattered. Like I think you guys are farther along than anybody could have imagined.
For sure.
I think you guys have a lot of staying power because I mean, you're a couple of pieces away on the defense from being legit.
Yeah.
In terms of being like a totally good defense, because like I know you guys have Bobby Wagner out there on the defense, and you got Deron Payne, Jonathan Allen, and all those guys, but you guys are probably going to do some stuff in the offseason for the defense for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we got a lot of free agents, so we have to figure out who we're going to pay and then who we're going to replace. But I mean, we got the cap room for it.
Yeah, you guys got the cap room, and you got the rookie quarterback contract. That's the cool thing.
Yeah, right.
And I always told people, this guy Terry McLaurin, man, that is one of my favorite wide receivers in the league because he's a consummate pro. I mean, me and the guys were talking yesterday, and they were like, this guy is just a consummate pro. He comes in there, he doesn't really say nothing. He's kind of like our guy, St. Brown.
Yeah.
He just doesn't say nothing. He just comes in, he does his job. I mean, there was a lot of times he could have came in there and been like, "Bro, I'm out because I don't got no quarterback to throw me that ball."
For sure.
But he waited it out. And now he has a good quarterback, and I was like, that's about time. It's about time that you got a good quarterback.
Yeah. No, seeing his reaction to the win on Sunday, you could see the 5-year build up to that moment for him, the emotion. And I mean, he's like a couple missed games injury wise. I think he missed 2 games his second year. He would have had 1,000 yards every year. He has 4 straight and had 900. So Terry's the best. He's beloved. Do no wrong in Washington.
Yeah, he's great. And I love Terry McLaurin, and I like the guy Zach Ertz. We had him last year, and we didn't play him in the playoffs. Right. He had an injury that was keeping him out. And I keep telling people if we would have had him in the NFC Championship game, it would have been a different game, to be honest.
Yeah, it's a fair point.
But Zach Ertz he's a consummate pro too. You guys got some good players on that team. I know Andrew Wiley too, so I'm happy. I'm happy for him. So
okay,
pretty good. So I mean, we look at this game like we were talking before the podcast, and I was laughing my ass off because you're like, man, you Detroit fans, you talk a bunch of shit on Twitter. I'm like, yes, they do. Yes, they do. And they don't stop. It's like it was so funny because I think it's worse with like Dallas fans and everything. I'm like, you guys gotta stop talking to Commander fans like they're just like junk.
Oh yeah, right,
You know what I'm
They
exactly.
saying?
They say Rams fan. One of my friends, he's a Rams fan. They said they get into it with y'all too on Twitter.
All the Rams fans, yeah, they totally get it, especially when they call Kirby Joseph like the dirty guy, you know. And
Oh yeah.
you know who he reminds me of? I swear, you guys are gonna know this. You guys, this is how he plays. Sean Taylor. He plays with a reckless abandon, man.
Yeah.
I you know, in this
Yeah.
day and age of football, that's kind of like the oh, it's dirty, you know what I'm saying? But
Right.
I still think there's a spot in the game for that. Not
Oh
you
yeah.
know, as long as it's clean and it's not like, you know, you're not going out and intentionally hurting people. I mean,
Right.
with the way the rules are nowadays, like you can't hit these guys anywhere.
Yeah. Can't hit him low, can't hit him high. I was like, where do you hit him?
I mean, the one play he made, I think it was against the Cowboys 2 years ago. It was in Dallas, and because we've been playing in Dallas for like 3 years straight, which is stupid. It's you gotta go to Jerry World every time, and they usually rig the shit out of it too. I don't think the time, man. It's like, but you know, if Jerry hires Deion Sanders, that'll be hilarious.
That'd be would be
You guys
great.
hear that all that stuff happening?
That would
right
be
now?
amazing. Yeah.
Man. That's a that place is a clown show, but so are the Giants. So you guys are good right now. So
Oh yeah, right, exactly. Like the AFC West.
yeah, it's gonna be crazy. But you guys, so what's your thoughts about this game coming up? Because I mean, like, obviously you guys are like, your guys are happy to be here. Number one, because I don't think any of you guys thought you'd be in the divisional round of this playoff, and in the first year of a head coach, you know, Dan Quinn, who
Right.
a lot of you were hesitant on. I know from, you know, the Commander fans I know, they were like, I didn't want him at all, and I was like, we wanted Ben Johnson. I know two of them that wanted Ben Johnson. One of them wanted what's the numbnuts from the numbnuts from L.A. Oh, Jim Harbaugh. Jim Harbaugh. So
yeah.
And I knew who Jim Harbaugh was, and I was like, yeah, he wouldn't work over there. No, not at all. Not at all.
Yeah.
Especially with Magic Johnson as one of the owners, it'd be like,
it
wouldn't really work out. But you guys are going to be here for a while. I do expect you guys to be having a lot of staying power for sure. I think it's going to be us and you that are going to be like, you know, it's going to be a new rivalry in the NFC, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, you got to tell you.
Yeah, I mean, we're thrilled. I'm thrilled, you know, about this situation that we're in, and the fact that we're competing for a division, for the NFC Championship game. I think, like we talked about earlier, Dan Quinn was not number one on my list. We were enamored with Ben Johnson, but when you look back at it, I don't think Ben Johnson would have been able to turn the team around like this, culture wise.
Yeah.
Dan Quinn has done a great job of embracing the past, the history, with Doug Williams and the team. Man, people don't understand why Commanders fans have this energy and why they think they can win. It's because Dan Quinn has built a brotherhood here, and it's just remarkable how they're bonding. They believe they're the underdogs. They believe that they can win this game, and the fan base believes it too, because this year was just remarkable. We won shootouts, we won close games, we won. I mean, any way you want to win the game, we've won this year. So that's why we're thrilled. We think we can win this game.
Yeah, and I don't blame you for one bit. I mean, I'll let you get in there, Todd, too. But you know, Dan Quinn, Dan Campbell, I think they're the same guy, man. Like they are guys that, you know, they come in here and they install a belief, and they don't just install a belief with the players, but they install a belief with the fan base. Like I look at Dan Quinn, and I saw this meme. I'm gonna put it up right now. This is funny as hell. Dan Campbell versus Dan Quinn next week is gonna be straight out Madden. 0 field goals, just going for it. You know, on 4th and 10, no punches, vibes. And I was laughing my ass off because when my buddy was a Commanders fan, he was like, last year he was texting me, he was like, this Dan Campbell guy, he likes to go for it a lot of 4th down. I was like, yeah. So this year I texted him, I go, that Dan Quinn, he likes to go for it on 4th down.
Yeah. No punts on Saturday.
No, there ain't gonna be no punts. We're gonna go for our 4th down every single time.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
Yeah, what do you got to say, Ty?
Yeah, I would just say, I think it's one of those games where, it makes sense to me that the Lions are favored, that everyone's picking the Lions to win. All these things, the Lions, they've earned their 15-1 record, especially considering they played in the toughest division in football this year.
Yep.
I think for me, I feel that the Commanders, I feel that they can win. I think they would have to play pretty clean, and have maybe one or two things go their way. But it's just something about Jaden, and it sounds like almost mystical, but I would say if we manage to get past the Lions and whoever we'd play in the conference championship, if I was them, I'd be scared because it's starting to feel a little like destiny type. Like, can you really do anything to stop it? And so that's why I'm kind of curious to see against the Lions. I know that it'll really, I think, just be an offensive game, and I think it may come down to who has the ball last. I could see a couple different scenarios, but I think that it'll be closer than some people think, and maybe even closer than the odds makers think, just because you've got two strong offenses and you've got two shaky defenses, or at least potentially shaky.
Yeah, the Lions needed Alex Anzalone back like they needed anything, because I mean they're right now they're injured in the defense and everything like that.
Yeah,
and they needed him back for just a captain, and that's what Bobby Wagner is for you guys. And you lose that guy, it's kind of like it's a linchpin of your defense that you really can't replicate, because the guy behind him, I mean, we got Jack Campbell, who was a first round pick, but he ain't an Alex Anzalone or a Bobby Wagner, so he's still a young kid, so it's just like you don't really expect him to be like this guy that's going to change play calls at the line like Anzalone does, because it takes time to learn that stuff. So this guy Jaden Daniels, like you said, Todd, that's the one reason I kind of think you guys are going to be in this game for sure.
Yeah.
I look at this guy and he's a different cat, man. He's a guy who, like, I kind of consider him. He's Jared Goff with legs. I say it with the utmost respect.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Because we like Jared Goff over here, but Jared Goff doesn't have the mobility that Jaden Daniels has. But I think they both have like the same repertoire of where they throw the ball, how accurate they are with the ball, where they get the ball placement. Because you get these rookie quarterbacks that come in. I mean, you could have Will Levis or you could have Jaden Daniels, and it's like
yeah,
a totally different world. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah,
it's like,
absolutely.
I just look at this guy Jaden Daniels, and he's a tough cookie, man. He gets better in the fourth quarter. Like, and his road splits. Like, I was looking at his road splits the other day, and like he's at a 75% completion rating on the road, 10 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 108.2 rating. I mean, this guy is just a consummate. This is not a rookie, man. You cannot claim to me this is a rookie quarterback.
That's kind of, first of all, that road splits graph. That's the first time I've seen his numbers on the road. I didn't even realize he was competing close to 75% on the road, which is more than he was completing at home. But you made a good point where, like, because it's his first year, he's a rookie. But I think at this point, what he's done is so far beyond what is expected or seen from a rookie quarterback that you can't put that tag on him as a way to make yourself, not you specifically, but any team feel better. That the rookie's coming. I mean, he's coming, but I wouldn't. There's some veterans who wouldn't be able to do what he's accomplishing. So it's pretty incredible.
I think when people say that he's a rookie, I think it's a cop out.
For sure.
Because when you get a guy like Jaden Daniels who comes in and you see him in the fourth quarter and he's leading a touchdown drive to get to tie the game or go ahead, like we've seen with the Philadelphia Eagles. I mean, that's top level stuff. I mean, there's veteran quarterbacks that crumble in the moment. We know those veteran quarterbacks across the league. I mean, looking at you, Dak Prescott. But
that's what I was thinking of.
I mean, that guy is the one guy who he gets all the shine, and I never understood it because I was like, he hasn't done anything Jaden Daniels has done, not one thing. So it's like, I mean, Brock Purdy's done more. So it's like I always laugh because I was like the when people say rookie quarterback coming into Ford Field, like obviously Ford Field is a loud environment, and they are gonna have to go on a silent count because that's how it goes there. But if there's a quarterback that can come in and do some stuff with it, I think it's Jay Daniels, because obviously he played in the SEC,
right?
So you go play in Alabama, you go play in Texas A&M. You've got things, but the whole thing about the Ford Field is it traps in the noise. It's built like an airplane hangar. That's why it looked like that, and it's just it's a tough place to play. And those fans that we have in Detroit, they're rabid. But the one guy that I think that can come in here and actually do something is Jay Daniels. Like, I look at the quarterbacks that are in the NFC playoffs right now. I think it would be Jaden Daniels, Stafford, and Hurts. Those would be the 3 guys that in that order too, because I think
Right.
Jaden Daniels, the way that he's playing right now, and it's road stats, the way he runs the ball, like I mean, Brian Robinson's having a horrible year for you guys. I don't know what you guys
Yes.
think
Yeah,
about
yeah,
that,
Yes.
yeah,
but
yeah. No, he started off strong, and I think he's. It's just been. You have the first few games. Go to week 2 against the Giants. I was watching. He was 17 for 133, something like that, and then he got banged up, and then he came back, and it's just the offensive line's hasn't performed as well. But I also think there's yards out there that are not being had, and we're all honestly. If you were to ask lots of Commanders fans, if you ask me and Tay, we would both say we'd prefer Chris Rodriguez start, and most Lions fans probably don't even know who Chris Rodriguez is.
I know
But we
Chris
would
Rodriguez
prefer,
did.
yeah, right. We feel like he has more juice, more pop right now. So,
Yeah.
but I think you'll be getting Brian Robinson, which which would bode better, I think, for the Lions.
Yeah, the thing about it though is like I don't know how you feel about it, Tay, but like the way I look at Brian Robinson, I think he has power. I think the offense that Kingsbury runs, and I don't think it's suited for him. And then you got Austin Eckler, catching passes. I mean, he's an older guy, but he's still doing his thing. But that Chris Rodriguez, man, he's a load to bring down, man. I watched him
Yeah,
at Kentucky, and I was like,
right.
this kid's gonna be a legit, he's gonna be a power back, in the NFL. Like
Yes, yeah.
if you're gonna bring him down, you have to bring the lumber to bring his ass down. That's for sure.
Yeah, really, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the thing. Brian Robinson, I think he is about done with us here in Washington after this year. I think we're going to find a running back, and with a class that's this deep, I
Yeah.
think you're definitely going to find one. But
Mhm.
go back to hit on Jaden Daniels. You're saying that he can be the quarterback. If there's any quarterback that can do it, it could be him. And the crowd noise doesn't phase us as a fan base because it's just this look that Jaden Daniels gets. Like me and Todd were watching the game together Sunday night, and we're just whatever the game was, and we're just looking at, like, you see it when he put his helmet on for that last drive. They're like, okay, Jaden is like locked in. And this week, all you see is Jaden. You can just tell when he's locked in. And everybody's saying, oh, the Detroit, the crowd. Yeah, I think the crowd will be a huge factor. But I think the bigger the game is for Jaden, I think the best he plays. And the crazy thing is, I don't think we've seen his best game yet this year. And there have been some amazing games.
Mhm. Yeah, I look at it like Jaden Daniels has every opportunity to make more noise with it. I mean, this defense that we have with Detroit, it's kind of weird because they get a bad rap because of obviously there's injuries that are happening and everything
For
with
sure.
Hutch and McNeil and then Carlton Davis. But man, they play some sticky coverage on the wide receivers, and like Terrion Arnold, he's getting better as the year goes on. But our two safeties are really effing good. So Brian Branch and Kirby Joseph. So those guys, they like to patrol the middle of the field. And I know that, I looked it up and I looked up where Jane Daniels likes to pass in his location. He likes short center 24% of the time, intermediate center 12.1% of the time. He likes throwing the center a lot. That's what I'm kind of getting at. And then he likes to throw the intermediate right, short left. So he does a lot of things that our guy does, Jared Goff. He likes to test that middle of the field and everything. And I think that's where you can kind of get in trouble with our defense because our defense has two guys that like to go ball hawking sometimes, kind
Yeah.
of like you guys had with like you guys had for Cam Curl a couple years ago who did like to do that same stuff. He was on the same level as like a Brian Branch, but he was the guy who
Mhm.
liked to he would get the interception, but he would allow a 60-yard seam up the middle. Still, there's no in between, dude.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, so first of all, it's funny because the whole thing with him when he was during the draft process was he can't throw over the middle of the field, and you got these numbers saying how he actually kind of prefers to. But yeah, it'll be interesting, honestly, because like we've seen a couple situations where he's thrown, I want to say 9 picks on the year, right? You had 2 against the Cowboys, one was a Hail Mary, one wasn't his fault. You had the Eagles game where like one he threw 2 picks in that game, he sailed one, and the other one he just kind of tried to throw it back across his body, and so. Having those safeties there, like Kirby Joseph leads the league in picks, right?
Yeah.
Right. Well, how many does he have? Is it 8
9.
or 9?
9.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So they're the players, like they're thinking this guy is really talented, he's really good, but also I'm sure they're thinking, but he is still a rookie as well. So, and they're gonna try to trick him
Bait
and
him
disguise some
into
things.
something, like that. I just
Yes.
think that our safeties are definite, advantage right there.
Yeah.
But I look at your rushing game, especially with the quarterback. I mean, like that's one area where we do struggle a little bit defending the Russian quarterback. But I think that's every team, and I think the way they use Jay Daniels on certain plays, when he's on design runs, he's really good. So
yeah.
And I was watching that Tampa Bay game, that one play that he made coming out of the end zone where he broke contain on the pocket and he threw to Zach Ertz. That was a veteran level play right there, man. That was phenomenal.
It was huge, third down, and went down and scored on that drive. So it's just like, and when he first half of the season or so, he was getting out of the pocket, he was just running. We've seen him evolve into this player who can get out of the pocket, look to throw first, and then run, which has just been massive.
Yeah, he's a guy that likes to throw first, and I think that's the most intriguing part about him because you get a lot of these kids out of college ranks, and they like to run first. Caleb Williams was like that. He liked to throw, but he would also, when he got into trouble, he would just start run around back there like he was a chicken with his head cut off. So it wasn't. Jane Daniels is the exact opposite, man. He's a guy who he'll find the guy. He'll be like, he knows where he's going to go with the ball on any given day, on any given time. And he does struggle a little bit with pressure, but that's every quarterback. I don't care who you are. But just to be a rookie in the way he's playing, he's playing phenomenal football right now.
Yeah. Well, it's exciting.
Yeah, and then I looked at this stat too. They got this is an advantage for you guys right here. The overall rushing efficiency, the Lions defense ranks 15th, and you guys rank 3rd, and that's mainly because of your guys' quarterback design runs. Because I mean, when he does do his whole song and dance, like where he's just like he breaks out and contain, and I seen it with the Philadelphia game because like there was a play where he was dead to rights. Like they had him dead to rights, and he just wiggled out of there. I mean, that's what he does, man. The more tape I watch of this kid, I'm like, this kid is just unbelievable. Like he really is.
Yeah. On the rushing thing real quick. Well, I'm pulling it up. Rushing yards, I think finished the season. Sorry, I'm in the postseason. Sorry, real quick. 3rd, right? We finished 3rd in the league in terms of like rushing yards per game behind the Ravens and the Eagles. Obviously, Saquon went for 2,000. Derrick Henry had over 1,900. And then you got the Commanders 3rd, and then you got Jaden as our leading rusher. So it's pretty insane to be 3rd in rushing, and but with your quarterback being the one leading the charge. So
that's kind of what you guys have to like fix in the offseason. You know what I'm saying? If you guys get a running back, because that's kind of what unlocked our offense. When we got a running back, we had DeAndre Swift. You saw him in Philadelphia last year. And he likes to run in his own blocks. But when we got Dave Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs, that was when this thing started to take off. And that's another matchup advantage I think for us that we have towards you guys is our run game. You know what I'm saying? And I look at it. I look at it like this. The one way to stop Jane Daniels is to keep him off the field. That's my opinion.
Yeah,
I think that's gonna be Dan Campbell's opinion too. Because look, you give this guy too many chances to. I thought the Bucks, they played all right, but they gave you guys chance after chance after chance after chance. And I'm like, man, if they don't start making some plays here, they're gonna lose this game. And lo and behold, man, they did that stupid reverse, which I still don't understand why they did that stupid reverse, but it was good for you guys. And I was just watching, I was like, man, like this is some stupid football. But I was like, the Commanders are gonna win this game because I knew Jane Daniels was going to lead him down there. And when he took up all of the time on the clock, I was like, man, this kid, that's a son of a bitch drive right there, man. Like I just was like, man, like that's some stuff that there's some veterans in the league that can't do that stuff.
Oh yeah,
there's some veterans in the league that have no idea about time management.
Especially
in the playoffs on the road. I mean, Tampa Bay, you guys took over their stadium, to be honest. I mean, we have too, but
I think that's the thing we overlook with Jaden is the intangibles.
Yeah.
He's getting in the facility at 3 a.m. He's studying the plays and he takes the check down. That's stuff that Caleb Williams and most rookies aren't doing. And people are like, okay, well, they're eating a lot of clock. I mean, that 17-play, 9-minute drive, that was him taking the check downs, him picking up 4th and 2 and 3rd and 2 and 3rd and shorts. And I think that's where we can find our advantages. I mean, although we're getting 3 yards a carry with Brian Robinson, I mean, it's helping. I mean, 3 yards, maybe 1.8 yards a carry with Brian Robinson.
Right.
It's still the RPO. You still have to factor in the RPO, and he can pop that thing loose. I mean, it's 2 or 3 plays a game where he can flip the game upside down.
Yeah, I just look at Jaden and the way that he did that whole march down the field. Like, yeah, he doesn't throw deep a lot. Like I looked at the statistics, man. He throws short 41.9% of
Wow.
the time, medium 21.6, and behind the line of scrimmage 19.4. He's
Mm.
it's a mirror to what our guy does in Detroit, Jared Goff. I mean, he's not a guy who's gonna take that. He could unload it sometimes, but he's gonna take those smart plays, and that's where I kind of think this Jane Daniels kid, he's way smarter than the average cat at
Yeah,
a
Oh,
for
rookie
sure.
pace.
Oh,
You know
yeah.
what I'm
For
saying?
sure.
And once you guys get a running back and everything like that,
Yeah.
like this offense is going to be unlocked. And I do like Cliff Kingsbury's offense coordinator. Man, there's some play calls that he does that I'm just like, I mean, that wait, what? But it is what it is. I mean,
Same for Ben Johnson.
yeah. Well, Ben Johnson. I mean, there's quarters that he'll go. This is
Yeah.
the problem with Ben Johnson. This is why I tell people.
Yeah, does
like,
he have any flaws? Because it seems like he's one of the
no, he does have flaws. Like there's times in a game where the offense goes completely like silent. Like
Yeah.
last year was the third quarter. Like every third quarter, they come out in the third quarter, they wouldn't score. They just wouldn't score. They're flat offensively, and then they'd have to come back in the fourth, or they have to do something like that. And this year, it's been the opposite. It's been the first quarter that sometimes got them in trouble. You know, it was against the Buccaneers that got them in trouble in the first quarter.
Yeah, slower starts, kind of.
Yeah, slower starts. The
Yeah.
Buffalo game. I mean, look, we knew with Buffalo coming in, we were probably gonna have to win this game with a shootout. To be honest,
Yeah.
'cause the way these defenses are, like, I mean, who's gonna be stopping who? You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Yeah,
Especially
exactly.
us at home, because this is one of the things that I look at is, you know, your road splits. You got 25.4 on the road points, and then we got 35.7 here at home. So, I mean,
Yeah.
we have to score, and the only game that we were really struggling was the Tampa Bay game, and I don't know. They
That
played.
was the one loss, or one of the two losses.
Yeah, that was early in the season, and
Yeah.
we kind of
Short
struggled with them out
16.
of that was a game we should have won, to be honest. Like we should have.
Yeah.
We just beat ourselves up with not committing in the red zone. We were like 0 for 5 in the red zone. So
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
anytime you do that, you guys know that you're gonna lose.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Because you guys had that with the Philadelphia game, the first game, where you guys
the first Eagles
in the
game.
red zone like many times. And I was like, they're gonna come win this game, and I was like, hell yeah, you guys go, because I was hoping to to get the number 1 seed, and I was like, come on.
Yeah.
And when you guys beat them in Washington, I was like, there we go.
Tip of the cap.
I was like, hell yeah, man. Like, that's what I'm talking about.
No, for sure.
That's another drive. That's another drive where Jaden Daniels, man, showed exactly who he is, man. I mean, obviously, Devontae Smith dropping that pass was a huge part of it, but
sometimes it takes some luck.
It takes luck, sometimes, you know what I'm saying?
And that's what I'm talking about, that team of destiny stuff. When does Devontae Smith ever drop a slant? But and the thing about these game-winning drives, and it's like, because fans of other teams, they probably see the highlights, and as Commanders fans, I'm sure you watch it very in depth.
Yeah.
For people who don't, it's what the Falcons game, the Eagles game, and then the Bucks game, where we had to go down the field and score at the end. And it was so effortless. There was not a negative play. There was no sacks or penalties, nothing to put us behind the chain. It was like, we got to go score. And it's like, I mean, I've seen quarterbacks, game-winning drives, but it's just something with Jaden. It's just like, it happens so easily, like a hot knife through butter. And that's why, honestly, in this Lions game, I think what we're saying is we know we're going to have to score a lot of points, because we know that the Lions will score a lot of points.
Yeah.
And what it'll come down to for us, I think the key thing is, if we can have the ball in our hands
with the chance to win,
3 or 4 minutes left, down one score, like a little less than one score, then that's our chance. Because I have a hard time kind of seeing it the other way, where like the Lions need to go on a game-winning drive. Like, things possible, but I think that the Lions are going to score a lot, and we're going to have to keep up.
Yeah.
But if somehow, some ways, 3 minutes left, we're down by 5 points, and we need a touchdown to win, I would be feeling very confident just based on what we've seen so far. That's the whole goal, is just to stay within one score and get the ball at the end.
I mean, that's probably the best way to do it, because that's the way you guys have been doing it all year long. I mean, you guys, you guys playoff teams against you guys are what, 2 and like 6, 2 or 4 or something like that. You guys aren't the best at it, but you guys are you guys weren't supposed to be here. Number one, that's how it was.
Right. Year one.
Obviously, in the first year, none of you guys, Commander fans, thought you guys were going to be this good. You know what I'm saying?
No.
And it's just been like every guy that's been on that roster, and Dan Quinn's doing a damn good job at getting you guys to play. And you guys are going to be in this game. I know it. I know there's a pathway for us to kind of blow this open. I know there is, but like at the same time, like you got to give the Commanders a lot of respect because, look, they're just like us. I think a lot of Lions fans are watching us right now. They're just like us 2 years ago.
I mean, yeah.
Right, we were kind of a team that we got in there, and we were just like, we got the playoffs. Last year. Last year we got the playoffs, but 2 years ago we made that run to get to the playoffs, and we fell short a little bit. But still, like no one expected us to be in that position. And then last year it was the same thing. Like we won the North for the first time, which was, something that we were trying to do for a long time. You guys know all about that. You guys were trying to win a playoff game for the first time since Clinton Portis. So I mean, if there's anyone that understands where you guys have been, it's us. So like,
definitely.
It's kind of like, and these are two of the most passionate fan bases, in my opinion. With the amount of losing that
we've gone through,
we've endured. You know what I'm saying? Has there ever? I mean, you guys have endured one of the dumbest owners of pro sports history.
Easily.
Dan Snyder was a total lunatic.
People don't even fully, he was. There's so many stories that most average person hasn't even heard. I want to do a documentary on him and sell it to Netflix or HBO.
I'll tell you what, there is one story because I just telling you about my buddy who works for the feds. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, I heard this story why they wouldn't give him the land or whatever where he was supposed to build a stadium. And they were just like, F this guy. And I was like,
they hated him.
They didn't like him at all. I'm like,
no.
If politicians don't like you, we got some problems.
A billionaire? Politicians don't like a billionaire?
They don't like a billionaire. That's exactly it. You got problems. Like, I mean, like there was people in like DMV that were like Virginia, Maryland, because they looked at Maryland too.
Yeah, for sure. Yep.
And they were like trying to go anywhere like Maryland, Virginia, downtown DC, and they were like, everyone was like, nope, Democrat, nope, Republican, nope. Like, bro, if you pissed off both sides of the aisle and they agree,
no, for real. Seriously, he was a common enemy. So I mean that's why things are so different. Like for the Lions, I mean, you're the owner, the senior, he passed away, and then the daughter took over, the wife took over, right?
Wife took over at first, and then we were like, okay, we'll see what happens. They did pretty well for a while, and then they hired Matt Patricia and Bob Quinn, which was the worst thing that ever happened. Because they brought this whole Patriot way to Detroit, and everyone bought in because the Patriot way and everything like that. And then you're like, this shit sucks. Like we literally can't do nothing. The players are pissed off. Like you got players that right now are on this team and they're like, man, this was a total difference from Dan Campbell to Matt Patricia. And I think it's probably the same with you guys because, like, I mean, you guys had an owner that was totally like an imbecile, and then you had Bruce Allen in the front office that was just wrecking things. You know what I'm saying? It's like
dark days.
It's like, man, it's like the Commander and Lions fan, they can shake each other's hands because they know exactly what each other's been through.
We let y'all beat in your 19-game losing success. We got like some history.
We got history, and I mean, it's not great history. I mean,
it's like all embarrassing history.
It's like, man, like what more can we do?
I'm serious.
Because we just I tell people here, like the Lions fans, I go, man, like they're the same as us, to be honest. They're trying to revive their franchise, which was dead on arrival. You're trying to revive a franchise because it's like you guys had new owner, new GM, new coach, and everything, and you're just doing it the right way. And it's you guys are starting to see exactly where you guys are gonna go, and it's fun to watch you guys, especially the way you're building the team right now. I really think that it's gonna be you guys are gonna be here for a while because I look at both our teams and I don't see any pathway where these teams just go away. Like they're too talented, good head coaches,
culture and everything. And y'all have a great GM too.
Brett Holmes, and you guys got one of our guys.
We have Greg or Newmark, right?
Newmark. That was the guy that we were like, damn, we didn't want to lose.
Yeah,
I love him.
and
I
we don't
love
want to lose
Newmark
him.
too.
Yeah,
because we were like our front office is loaded. So when you guys took
Mhm.
Newmark, I was like, man,
Yeah.
that's the one I knew that was like that sucks. But Brett Holmes is still a good GM, but
He is.
I
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
I like the way you guys play. I really do. I think the funniest part about it is like when Lions fans they kind of overlook you guys because in terms of like they look at you and they go, all right, I think we can win this game handily. There's a lot of people that think that, but there's a lot of majority that think that this is gonna be a tight game. I can tell
Mhm.
you that right now. A
Yeah.
lot of the vocal part, they're saying it boisterous because
Yeah.
that's just what they do. I mean,
Mhm.
Yeah.
they talk shit to anybody that they could talk to. So I look at it like you guys are gonna be here for a while, and it's gonna be fun to renew a rivalry because I mean 91 you guys beat us 41-6, so that was our last hoorah playoff win before last year. So
Same. Same.
so yeah, we were it's like the same thing. So we're like, man, it's like I just laugh about it, but I love your guys' quarterback, Jane Daniels, and
Yeah.
I think you guys are heading in the right direction for sure. But I look at this game to me to be on my part. Like I look at your defense and I go, obviously you guys have a defensive issue with the running game. You're
For
30th
sure.
in the league.
Yeah.
You give up some points. You're not good on third down. You're good at passing, which is it's I don't know. You guys have a
It's
reason for that?
so and
I know it's
I'll
not
go
bad
first and
anymore
let Tay add some.
because
Yeah,
Latimore's
no.
been pretty bad.
I would say so I think that the part of the reason why the passing numbers are so good is because if you look at 2023, they were 32nd. And I
Yeah.
actually tweeted about this. They gave up like 10 touchdowns of like 50, 60, 70, 80 yards. This year, the longest touchdown they gave up was 40 yards in week 3 to Jamar Chase. And
Yeah.
since then, the number of deep downfield passes, I mean, AJ Brown had one for 56 yards, but
Right.
it's been very minimal. And so we've made teams work for the yardage. Now they everything underneath, if you run a comeback, it's open, right? Like everything's kind of open underneath, but the big chunks aren't there. And then I think you combine that with the fact that the run defense hasn't been strong. So teams have been able to run and they haven't been able to score fast through the air. And so that's in some ways I think they're connected, but I will say that over the top has not really been there. And so that's part of why the passing numbers look good, but also because the rushing numbers are so bad, I think helps the passing numbers.
And penalties too. Todd.
Yeah. Well,
yeah, that's right.
The
There's
pass
a lot of
interference.
great point. Great point.
Our defense and your defense can shake each other's hands on the pass interferences because I mean, our defense plays a physical brand of football in the secondary. Your team does too. Dan Quinn, he preaches the physicality at the secondary. So I look at you like I couldn't understand that statistic though. Like third, I put it up again. Third in pass yards. I'm like, wait, doesn't make much sense.
No,
man.
but we're not a good pass defense. We like I said, we keep the lid on the over the top, but it's not a. We came into the year with honestly the worst cornerback duo in the NFL. Emmanuel Forbes, who got cut, and
I hopes for him.
St. Juice, who got St. Juice, who got benched. So it is a bit of an enigma, but I will say we don't have the third best passing defense. Now, it's definitely not as bad as last year, but like Tay said, you made a great point, Tay. There's a lot of yards that aren't shown on the stats sheet through pass interference penalties and holding and all that.
Yeah, those don't show up on the stat sheet. So
it's probably like 1,000 yards in that.
He dropped from third to like 30th.
Yeah, because the pass interferences. But you guys do a good job at tackling after the catch. That's one thing I do. That's a Dan Quinn type thing right there. Because the Cowboys are the same way. They like to tackle after the Trayvon Diggs. I mean, he would get burnt like toast, and then make a tackle. I mean, that was one of the most overrated corners I ever like.
Get a pick and then give up an 80-yard touchdown.
Yeah, you guys know about him all. You're in the division with him, so you guys know all about him. You know what I'm saying?
We had Taylor Heineke and Carson Wentz throwing picks to him. Those irritating.
The Diggs thing though is funny because like every Cowboy fan, there's a guy I talk to, he's a Cowboy guy, a podcaster or whatever. He's like, Diggs is the best corner in the league. I'm like, get the hell out of here, bro. Like
come on,
about, bro.
And I'm not saying I wouldn't take his style of play over what we've had because I'd rather have a guy who will get burnt and has ball skills to catch a pick, but he's not a good not a great cover corner.
No,
He has
he's
good
not.
ball skills.
He
So
will,
if you underthrow the ball, he will catch it.
oh yeah,
Yes.
he was a
But
former wide
he
receiver
was
too,
beat.
so
Yeah,
that's why he's like that. So
exactly.
I mean, I think Deron Bland is their best cover corner, to be honest.
Oh
So,
yeah,
Yeah,
for
oh
sure.
yeah.
But yeah, I look at you guys, and I had high hopes for Emmanuel Forbes, your defense. You guys have injuries too to the defense too, right?
So honestly, go ahead. We'll go ahead, Tay.
Yeah, no, we're about as healthy as can be on the defense.
The
Archie
main Jonathan Allen had got hurt. He came back. Bobby Wagner, he tweaked his ankle, but he's playing. Lattimore's got his hamstring that he's playing through. But in terms of starters, the starters are all pretty much out there, a little bit dinged up.
Yeah, I think that's going to be something to watch in this game for sure because Bobby Wagner, the ankle injury is something.
Yeah, let's slow him down or something.
Concerning for sure. Deron Payne had that dislocated finger. I saw that on Twitter. I was like, damn.
You saw the X-ray is crazy. I know.
And I seen the X-ray. I was like, your finger is supposed to look like that, man.
And he came back in at the end of that game too. Which is insane.
But you guys got rid of Montez Sweat, so that was
yes, yeah. He's playing against y'all twice a year now, and what's crazy is we traded Montez Sweat, we traded Chase Young, we signed Dante Fowler and Frankie Louvu, and these guys have more sacks than those guys have. So
yeah, I did like the Frankie Louvu signing. To be honest, I thought he was an underrated signing when you guys got him because I watched him in Carolina and he was really good. Like he was really good at getting after the passer, and I was just like, he's in Carolina, so no one really cares. That's the problem. You know what I'm saying? But Dante Fowler, like he's a good pass rusher, but he against the run, he's a
he's a pass rusher guy for sure. He never lived up to his draft pick, but he can get after the quarterback. But like you said, he's a pass rusher more than a overall defensive end. Louvu, I'll give Lions fans this. He came to DC because he wanted to play with Dan Quinn because he saw how Dan Quinn used Micah and felt he could be used the same way. And obviously that's been the case. Like he's not the player Micah is, but he's played really well. I will say though, probably this last stretch of the season, Tay, if you'd agree, he's been on the quieter side. And I kind of want to see if he can wake back up. He hasn't been bad, but he was a force to be reckoned with probably the first 10, 12 weeks of the season. And he's been pretty quiet lately. He's dropped 2 picks in these last 5 weeks, caught 1. So we're looking to see if he can if you wake that beast back up, we'd be happy about that, against y'all's offense, especially.
Yeah, well, I think you guys are gonna have to, get some guys that are gonna have to play really, really good because
definitely
our offense is you guys like to blitz a lot, and our quarterback, he loves the blitz. I don't know why. It was the opposite a couple years ago, but he's you guys blitz at one of the highest rates in the NFL, 5th highest in the NFL. And then blitz golf against the blitz, he's 30 NFL completion percentage, 4th in yards per attempt, touchdowns, he's tied for 4th, and 5th lowest in the NFL. And kind of Jane Daniels was there at every little step. There was steps where Jane Daniels is pretty good. So both these quarterbacks like to blitz, man. That's just because
I did see something where Dan Quinn is I think he's 2-0 against golf.
Yeah.
Or 3-0 against golf.
Yeah.
He's done a great job against the Lions. His defense is from what I've seen. But obviously our defense is not the Cowboys, so that's
But the one game we should have effing won against the Cowboys.
The eligible receiver and reporting and all that.
It was like, man, that's such a
Dan Campbell was like a rage 4th down attempt.
Oh, dude, he was pissed. He was
like, no, we're going for it. 4th and 40. We're going for it.
Just go for it. I'm like, this guy, man. He see our coach Dan Campbell. Like, that's why I like Dan Quinn. He's like your Dan Campbell, to be honest.
Culture's there.
The fan base loves him. Your guys' fan base loves Dan Quinn now. I feel like both our coaches, when they came here, we didn't know what to expect out of our coaches. Dan Quinn, you guys didn't know what to expect. Dan Campbell, we didn't know what to expect. He came out there saying we're gonna bite kneecaps and everything like that. And we're just like, all right, we heard that before. How many times do we got to hear a coach come in and say we're gonna do this, and it never works out? Just never
right.
It was like Jim Caldwell saying he's gonna restore the roar or something like that. It was like, man. And then he wore like 4. He wore 4 watches on a time. On his he literally wore 4 watches, 2 on each arm, and couldn't do any clock management. It was amazing.
That's crazy.
Amazing.
What? Sorry, I want to ask you about Dan Quinn. That when he first started his 1-6 stretch, was it like fire him? Like if there wasn't much belief already, knowing what the team was, and then when the Goff trade happened, was it like I imagine the whole NFL world was like, "Hey, the Rams got Matthew Stafford, and the Lions took Jared Goff, and we see how he's performed." So I'm just curious how that's all kind of evolved for
So
fans.
go to the Jared Goff trade. I think there was a lot of people in this city that they wanted another quarterback. They just did. Like
Yeah.
we were talking. There was talk about drafting Malik Willis, number 2 overall that one year, which was the
Yeah.
dumbest shit I've ever
Yeah,
heard
it
in
was.
my life.
We were talking crazy like that too.
We
You know,
were.
that's some of the things you deal with in your fan
You're
base. Like, I mean,
desperate. Yeah, you get desperation makes you act crazy.
they
Blinders.
just
Yeah.
yeah, they just want a guy who could be
Yep.
that guy. And
Give
and
him a chance.
I told people I started the podcast like right when Dan Campbell started being here at Detroit, and I remember going back on it. I told him I was like, look. Jared Goff's your quarterback. Like he just is. Like there's no doubt about it. Like he's going to be your quarterback. And people were pushing back on it. They wanted, there was a time they wanted Malik Willis, and then when we drafted Hendon Hooker, they were like, "See, that's the guy right there." And it's like, all right, guys, I don't know what to say to you. But then he had the year that he had last year, the year he's having this year, and you're just like, this guy is the guy to take us forward. And he's enamored himself with the fan base because, I mean, they chant his name all everywhere. Like you go on TikTok and you can see it everywhere. They chant his name at grocery stores and like sporting events that he's not even involved in, and it's like insane. But I just Jared Goff has done a great job at getting himself enamored with the city because this is a city that like we don't really like the shiny toys. You know what I'm saying? We like the rough and tough guys. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
we were the bad boys and with the Pistons. We were the the
Right.
grind line with the Red Wings and Tigers. They've had their success and they've had their failures too, but we always like the guys that are just like lunch pail guys, right? So when Jared Goff started like doing things like staying in the pocket and just getting absolutely unloaded on, like there was a game against Dallas where Micah Parsons took his helmet, like just obliterated him. And I think that really gave the fan base a little bit of okay, we like this guy. We can go forward with this guy because he took a beating in that game because we had Decker out and we had Sewell. Sewell was a rookie and everything, and it just sucked. But it was and then Dan Campbell, the whole 1-6 thing. They wanted him gone. A lot of people did want him gone. They wanted Aaron Glenn gone too, and that's our defensive coordinator.
Right.
And I always told people like, man, he's doing what he can with the roster that he had. Like it's like your guys' the roster. Like for the first 2 years of this whole Dan Campbell, Brad Holmes, our defense was really at the we really had the Walmart bin of players. Like we had Cam Sutton for a year. We had Kendall Vildor last year in the playoffs, and we could never get the guy that we wanted. And obviously, we got the Kirby Joseph and the Brian Branch and the Jack Campbell and Hutch. That was a big one, and McNeil. But our defense wasn't there yet, and that's kind of like what your defense is at right now, where it's not there yet. It's not there yet, but you're not gonna say like, oh damn, this team is they should be winning more than they are. But yeah, the 1-6 thing was weird because everyone wanted Dan Campbell gone. They thought he was a joke. A lot of the media did for sure. And some of the fans did too. But when the owner came out and said, "Nah, we're not doing it. We're sticking with the plan. This is how it is." That's kind of like, I think that's going to be a defining moment in Lions history, to be honest, because a lot of times the Lions would do some stupid shit before it needed to be done.
Right.
And she's like, "No, we're going to stick with the plan. That's what we're going to do." And she was right, man. And a lot of people can go back on that one interview she did. She didn't have to talk. She really didn't. It was after they lost their 5th game of the year, and she's like, "No, we're sticking with the plan. This is how it's going to go, and we're doing that." And we never had an owner like that in the Lions organization. Like we've had the Illages who've done a damn good job at championships and Bill Davidson and all that jazz, but we never had a Lions owner that really came out there and was like, "This is what we're going to do. We have a plan in place." And it's kind of like your guys' ownership now. Like you guys have steady ownership now. Magic Johnson's involved. Josh Harris is involved, and it's just good to see, man. Because like that's exactly how it takes everyone to win in the NFL. Like it really does.
Yeah.
I don't think people realize that. Like I feel bad for the Raiders fans, and I feel bad for Cowboys fans a little bit because Jerry Jones is off his effing rocker right now. So
it's hilarious. I'm loving every second of it.
man, Jerry's off his rocker. He's like, but that's what it is, man. Ownership is huge, and
It's everything.
Both our fan bases know this. Like, it just, it is what it is.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to ask one thing about Ben Johnson, and also want to touch on, because the main weakness in this game, definitely, and I think the main thing, one of our friends said he literally had nightmares 3 nights in a row about Jahmyr Gibbs against the defense, and which is perfectly valid. That's the biggest concern. You got David Montgomery coming back. I do wonder if he'll steal some touches from Gibbs that y'all would prefer he doesn't, even though he's obviously a good running back. But the one thing I'd say that I'm hoping is, I expected Bucky Irving to do more last week than he did. He finished with 17 carries, 77 yards. Somehow the defense stepped up. So that's the only hope I have going into this game. Now, Gibbs is a different beast, but that was probably one of our best run stopping performances all season was last week. So either that was a one-time thing, or it was, indicative of something.
Of what's going to happen in the future. Yeah, this running back tandem we got right now, like, when Dave Montgomery went out, we were like, okay, this kind of sucks because we don't want Jahmyr Gibbs taking all the carries. But then he did. And he showed out, really did.
Yeah.
But Dave Montgomery, man, he's got a place on this roster because he is a part of the fabric of what this team is about. He's a rough and tough guy. He can catch a pass out of backfield. He likes to run over people. That's the one thing he does. He gets the tough yards. Like, if you get him down before the line of scrimmage, damn good job, man. Damn good job. He never goes down. He always falls forward, and that's one of the things that, like, a lot of running backs don't do anymore. Especially with us, we never had running backs like that before. Like, going back to Barry, that's the only time you could say that. Yeah. But Monty come back is huge for us because he gets all the tough yardage, and then Jahmyr Gibbs can get touches when he wants, and I think that's saving him is going to be beneficial for us going down. If we go to the NFC Championship, if we go to the Super Bowl, that would be the best bet, because these two running backs, they run our offense basically. They're tough to stop. People talk about our offense and they go, St. Brown, JMO's a guy that I watch too, because he can take the top off the defense in a heartbeat for sure, with his speed. But like, these guys that are our running backs, man, they're so versatile and they're just so good at what they do. So they're a huge part of our team. And Jahmyr Gibbs, man, this is a guy. I remember when we drafted him, people were like, "Why did we draft a running back in the first round, man?" And I was like, "You drafted him because of this, like this exact reason is why you drafted number one in the first round."
In the first.
Exactly. And when you look at all the teams in the NFL playoffs right now, it was Pat Kerwin of NFL Sirius XM Radio. He brought this up. There's only one running back outside the first round that's starting right now. Only one. Wow. Out of the first and second round. There was only one.
Brian Robinson.
Joe Mixon, Brian Robinson, yeah. No, Joe Mixon was a first round pick. Yeah, it's Brian Robinson. That's the only one that's on a first round pick, or a second round pick.
I didn't realize that. That is pretty crazy.
He plays like it.
Because you know how people are saying, like, the running game is dead. The run back.
Dead. Yeah.
You look at the playoffs right now. That's literally the reason that these teams are playing as well as they are. But I mean, would the Eagles be as good as they are without Barkley? Hell no. Hell no. Jalen Hurts looks like he's
saw how it went last year when you tried to put it all on Jalen Hurts. You saw what happened last year.
That was the DeAndre Swift year, and I told them, I was like, this is gonna backfire. Like, because DeAndre Swift was our running back, and he was he was an interesting guy. But I just like, I like our running backs. I like our matchup against you guys in terms of the running backs. I like Jahmyr Gibbs against you guys. He's an explosive guy who can get out there. But the thing about our team is that it's different, though, is we got so many guys that can catch the ball, like Tim Patrick, Jahmyr Gibbs, out of the backfield. Dave Montgomery can catch passes. Sam Laporta, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jameson Williams, Tim Patrick, like I said. So we got a bunch of weapons. So spreading defenses out, that's what gets us wins, man. Like, it really does. And honestly, like, when I look at you guys, I look at how are we going to spread them out and kind of get them in a a position they don't want to be in. You know what I'm saying? Because
Mhm.
I know you guys have a cornerbacks and that you don't really trust. You know what I'm saying? Like Lattimore is like one of the worst ranked cornerbacks right now because he's hurt, obviously. But
Yeah.
like that's what I look at. Like with this game because like Laporta, he's really turned it on lately. I think he's ranking like second in the league in the last like 4 weeks.
Mm.
So he's a guy that could hurt you. And JMO, he's a guy that he takes the top off defenses. Any defense, he'll take the top off, and that's kind of what Dan Quinn's going to try to stop. That, to be honest.
Yeah.
But he did against Dan Quinn last year in Dallas. That was a
Mhm.
huge play, and he's done it a lot. But we know that Dan Quinn's a damn good coach, so he's gonna have the boys ready. So it'll be a tough game, to be honest.
Yeah, it'll be we like so on third down, we're like a pretty heavy man team on third down. And I mean, I'm definitely concerned about it. And I'm hoping that whatever side Jameson Williams is on, that's the side that our safety, Quan Martin or Jeremy Chin is leaning to, because he can run past any of our guys. I mean, he can run past pretty much anybody, definitely run past our guys.
Jeremy Chin's having a hell of a year, and that was another
Yes.
that was another signing I like that you guys made, Jeremy Chin. And
Yeah,
honestly,
no,
like looking back at it, like the whole Chase Young thing, like we wanted Chase Young in Detroit, but
yeah.
um,
Good luck with that.
I mean,
Yeah,
I see him take plays off all the time. I didn't want any part of
Yes.
him, so that was a problem for me. And I knew, and I talked to some people that I know that are close to the Lions, or whatever, and they're like, he ain't no Detroit Lion. I'm like,
no, he's not a commander either now. Yeah,
I was like, yeah, he's a guy that kind of like he doesn't really fit the mold of what we want. You know what I'm saying? I think
yeah,
Montez Sweat is more of a guy that we would like,
definitely. Yeah.
but our your former GM would not do business with us. That's basically what I was told. So
Talking about Bruce Allen or Ron or Ron Rivera /
yeah, Martin Mayhew that was in the
Martin
Mayhew.
Mayhew.
Yeah,
yeah,
Mayhew.
he was our former general manager, and
Right.
it seemed like he screwed up a wet dream. Like that guy, he
Oh yeah.
he would
'Cause
draft he would draft some amazing player like Darius Slayer, Quandre Diggs, and he'd be like, hell yeah, and then he'd draft a Eric Ebron, you know, and you're like, oh, the hell we drafting 2 tight ends for, man? That was the year that Aaron Donald came out. You know, we wanted Aaron Donald or Mike Evans or even
Yeah.
Odell Beckham. That was the guys that we wanted, and
Abram was with the 12th, 16th pick.
yeah, that was a shocking one, to be honest. Like,
And he was there for what? It was 2 years, and he was there for the 0-16 season.
no, he wasn't there for the 16
Oh, he
season.
wasn't.
He was there for a lot of the foibles though, and he couldn't catch passes. You know who was there for
No, I'm talking about Martin Mayhew was there for 0-16, right?
Yeah, he was there. Yeah,
Yeah,
he was the guy under Matt Millen. So like, we hired a guy to come in here and clean up Matt Millen's business, and he learned under the guy. So like, that's a great hire right there. Like, it's like kind of like you guys with Bruce Allen. Like, you guys are like, my buddy who's a Commanders fan. Like I told you, he said I hate this guy. Like he sucks.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you might get your wish of cleaning house because the new owners, you know, they're gonna be like, you know, wanting to do their own way, and they did, and I was excited for that. But yeah, you guys are definitely, your draft last year was pretty good, to be honest. I was really excited with that.
Some contributors, some strong contributors.
You got your quarterback too. Yeah, Sam still is a guy I like.
Yeah,
I love Sam still. I told that's a guy I wanted the Lions draft because I think he so
feels like a
smart.
lion.
He's so smart, man. And he played at Michigan,
Mhm.
and we watched him at Michigan. Just he's smart, man. He's a guy who was a former wide receiver.
Yep.
So when you see him make plays on wide receivers, you're like, that's because he's a wide receiver right there. He's just smart, man. That's the only thing you could say. Like, I know people that played with Sam still, and they just say like he's a smart dude that like is a supercomputer intellectually. You know what I'm saying?
Kind of see it, yeah.
And you could see on the way he plays. He's not overly like athletic guy,
right?
Any stretch of imagination, but he's a guy
technician.
You guys are gonna definitely have moving forward that are gonna be huge. So
yeah, and I'm interested to see how he matches up when he's guarding Amon-Ra. I mean, I expect Amon-Ra to, you know, throw him around, or not throw him around a bit, but just because of size wise, you know, I don't like Sainers still guarding Mike Evans or AJ Brown, which, you know, he's had to do here and there. But Amon-Ra, at least size wise, is a guy he matches up with more. So I'm kind of curious to see that one.
Yeah, the thing about Amon-Ra though is he's so fast in like his breaks.
Yeah, yeah.
That's where he gets people, and Dallas did it a lot. They would put Trayvon Diggs on him, and it was a horrible matchup. So
Yeah,
you gotta watch out for that. But
for sure.
there's not many guys that can keep up with St. Brown though. To be honest, like
Yeah.
he is he's kind of like he's like Terry McLaurin, like a a guy that likes to play the physical way, and he's not a diva by any stretch of the
Yeah,
imagination. So
yeah.
that's guys that we like. So I mean, it's just JMO is a guy that takes, like I said, he takes the top off the defense and everything like that. So
Yeah. And he
it
can
is
take
what
a
it is.
slant 70 yards. I want to ask because I know last year the Lions, won the divisional round and then championship game, and I was rooting for the Lions last year.
Yeah.
I was, and I mean, we were at the time we wanted Ben Johnson. We was rooting for him to succeed, all of that. 24-7 at halftime against the 49ers in the championship, and then don't score again until the end of the fourth quarter. Do fans blame Ben Johnson? Do they blame Dan Campbell? Is there any fear of choking or anything like that in the playoffs coming into this year, considering how last year ended?
No, I mean, I think it was like a comedy of errors, to be honest. I mean, I think I personally blame Ben Johnson for that third quarter because it was just like we did some stupid stuff that we should never have done. And that's kind of the foibles I have with Ben Johnson. Like, if you were to be honest, like if you were to say who would you take as a head coach right now, I'd take Aaron Glenn, to be honest. Like I just think he's a Dan Campbell type. So, but Ben Johnson, I think he's gonna go to the Raiders. So that's a problem. But
which is hilarious.
If he wants to go there, like
to the AFC West with
Patrick Mahomes, Herbert, Bo Nix, that's a great spot, man. So whatever you want to go TB12 and bull cut guy, I don't care. But Ben Johnson, man, there's times where he just goes in a shell, and that's kind of what I worry about with him, to be honest, in every game, because he will go in this like smartest guy in the room type syndrome. And it's kind of what you guys deal with Cliff Kingsbury sometimes, because there's times that Cliff does the same thing. He goes in this I know better, like I'm gonna do this, and it's like it's not working. It's literally not working, man.
Yeah.
And the San Francisco game, that was a comedy of errors. It was like we had a fumble from Jameer Gibbs. That was his first fumble of the year, which was insane.
Right, yeah.
We had Kendall Vildor get a pass interference on Brandon Ayuk, and then the ball go off his face mask, and Brandon Ayuk catches it. So it's like it's just like, man, that was not the way it was supposed to go. And obviously we went into a San Francisco team that they were more battle ridden, you know what I'm saying? That's kind of that's why I look at you guys and I look at us and I go, it's kind of the opposite this time around.
Yeah.
I feel like we have the battle wounds kind of that you need to kind of like get better and learn off of, and I think that would be beneficial for any team. Like obviously you want to go to the Super Bowl, you want to run the table, but like at the same time you want to get the just the losing out of your in the playoffs. That's the one thing I think every team wants to, because no team comes in the playoffs their first time and just says, "F it, man, we're gonna go for it. And we're gonna win the Super Bowl," and it just doesn't happen. So it's like I think we needed to lose that game though. I really do. I think that like it kind of set us up for what we needed to do this year, like get home field. That was a major thing because we should have had home field anyways. But that damn Cowboy game, man, that changed a lot of crap in the NFC because we would have had home field. So that was
right. That would have been a big
That was a big chance because if we get people coming to Ford Field, to us that's like a we got them kind of thing. I think that's where Lions fans are. They're so brash right now because your guys are coming to us. That's what we think, because like we get teams coming to the we call it the den and everything like that. But we get people coming to Ford Field, like it's a hard place to play, man. I talked to players who had played in the NFL, and even when the team sucked ass, like horrible years, like the Patricia years, they're like, damn, that place is gonna be rocking if they ever get to a playoff. And I'm like, and I was there at the Buccaneers game last year. Man, that place, I lost my hearing for 2 days. Literally lost my hearing.
Wow.
So that's how it is. And I look at this game and I look at you guys with Jane Daniels and I go, he's gonna have to be good in silent count because they're not running any kind of they're not running a vocal offense. There's no way.
Yeah.
So, and I think Jane Daniels knows that, and I think, but it's just every time you get on the road and you get into these environments, like it's like the Saints back in the day. Like you go to New Orleans and you're like, damn man, like we're kind of effed because like we went to New Orleans in 2011 and we were dead on arrival, man. We went there and carved us up and made Stafford like Stafford had a decent game and they still carved us up for like 450 yards or something like that.
Yeah.
So that was something that we needed, but yeah, that's what it is. But so I look at like you guys and I think you guys are where we were last year.
Yeah.
So I think that it's going to be good to get some playoff experience, like especially in the divisional round, because that's what you guys need, to be honest. So
Yeah, definitely. And we're getting it ahead of schedule, which is cool. We don't have to wait to get it.
yeah, I think Jaden Daniels though he's gonna be a good quarterback moving forward, and I really do like your team. To be honest, I love the you guys don't got any guys on defense that I go, oh, that's a guy we got to watch out for, a game breaker or anything like that. But you guys got Jane Daniels is the way you're going to build your team. Like you're going to go get a running back and draft or maybe free agency and probably going to draft one. I think Quinshon Junkins from Ohio State.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Or even like a Henderson from Ohio State. Or man, there's some good guys that are coming out in the draft. So that's
a lot of them.
But I just look at you guys and I think you guys are ahead of schedule for sure. Yep. And you guys got a damn good coach and Dan Quinn. Everyone and my buddy, like I said, he's a Commanders fan. He was all like distraught that they didn't get Ben Johnson. I was like, well, I'm the wrong guy to ask about Ben Johnson because I don't think he's going to be a good head coach.
Yeah, personally. That's fair. Yeah.
So I think a guy like Dan Quinn coming to the Commanders, that was what was needed. Because you see a lot of these teams, man, they throw on these coaches and like I always tell people, like if Ben Johnson goes to the Commanders, you don't have Jahmyr Gibbs, you don't have Dave Montgomery, you don't have that offensive line that we have here.
Right.
You don't have Jared Goff until you get a quarterback. You know what I'm saying? So you don't really have that offense to run until you get the guys to run it. So that's why I always get scared of these offensive coordinator type guys. I mean, they could be good, but they could also be a total disaster.
Yeah.
Our guy Dan Campbell, he was a tight ends coach, so I mean, we kind of hit the lottery on that. So I just think it's about building a culture. That's the main thing. And you guys have built it, so I have nothing but respect for you guys. So
yeah, no, likewise.
I know the fan base. Our fan base is kind of brash. I mean, I see them in the comments. Like I'll put up some comments because you guys, but there's like this one seriously laughable that they think they can come in Detroit and upset us. Nope. Enjoy your rookie year. This is our time. The Commies had a great story, but Lions is a better one. They're gonna learn who Jahmyr Gibbs is. That Russian defense is meh. I mean, that's Ed. He's a knowledgeable guy, but
yeah.
I mean, it just goes in ways like this. This is a good team, man, and we know that we're on the track to be a Super Bowl contender, obviously, and we just look at you guys, and I think I look at you guys like if you guys play it the right way, you guys will be in this game. I really do think that, but it's got to be perfect, and that's the problem with being at this cycle of the rebuild, because everything has to fall into place, and if it doesn't, you're kind of be like, that's what happened to us in the 49er game, man. Everything had to fall into place for us to win in San Francisco.
Yeah,
and it did in the first half, and then the second half, it all fell apart. So
right,
and we got lucky that Dallas got wiped off the floor by the Packers. That was what got us a home playoff game, and that's why we feel that we have the advantage with the home playoff game. So
yeah,
what it is.
Yeah, no, definitely. And that was
last thing for me.
Yeah.
Last thing for me is I think your fans are discounting the fact that you're dealing with a Dan Quinn who's coached the Super Bowl, who was up 28-3 against a Tom Brady team who's experienced, and I think that has a lot to do with it. And Dan Campbell has not coached in the Super Bowl. He has not, won an NFC championship. And Dan Quinn did that his second year with Atlanta. I mean, he made the Super Bowl second year in Atlanta. So I think that has a lot to do with our confidence in the guy who's prepared, who's Cliff Kingsbury, who's been a head coach, defensive coordinator, and Joe Witt, who won Super Bowls. Bobby Wagner, he's won the Super Bowl. Andrew Wiley. Allegretti won Super Bowls, Ertz won Super Bowls, Lattimore, he's played in
Yep.
big games, and I think that's what factors into us as a fan base is although we're a young team, we have
Championship
players that
experience.
keep positions. Yep, players that keep positions that can play in big time moments.
Yeah, the championship experience I do factor in too. Like I know Bobby Wagner's past his prime. You know what I'm saying? I really he's great linebacker still, but not the same linebacker that we saw in Seattle. But Lattimore the same way. But Dan Quinn, you're right. He's a good coach, and he does have championship experience. And I think that Dan Campbell has he's got some things to prove too. And I think that's what's gonna
because y'all got to get over the hump. Just like I mean, y'all are playing with dangerous territory because can y'all get over the hump? I mean, it's
yeah. I mean that's a realistic take. And I look at this like this is kind of the year that we have to do what we have to do.
Because Ben Johnson and Glenn are gone after this. So
yeah. Well, it's kind of funny you say it because I mean, I was talking to someone who works in the NFL. He used to work for you guys too, but I told him that's a bad thing on your resume, so don't put it on your resume. Because the drafting those years are kind of bad. But I was like, he thinks that we have 4 head coaches on the staff, which is Ben Johnson, Aaron Glenn, Calvin Shepard, which is our linebackers coach, and then our offensive coordinator, the pass game coordinator, which is Tanner Engstrand. And then we got Scotty Montgomery, who's a running back coach, who was a head coach at college. So we got guys. There's a lot of guys on our team, though. Our coaches, like our secondary coaches, and that are like the position coaches. A lot of them have championship experience, man. A lot of them, like Antoine Randall, obviously he threw in the Super Bowl. Dan Quinn was Dan Campbell was in a Super Bowl as a player. So I go back to when they were players, like Hank Fraley. He played with you guys, the Redskins, and so did Mark Brunell. So we got our guys, and I think that we have the coaches to do it. Losing Ben Johnson, to be honest, I don't really factor in it as like a big thing because I always tell people this is Dan Campbell's offense. Like it really is. We ran the same offense when he fired Anthony Lynn. Anthony Lynn was our first offensive coordinator.
Right.
He fired him the first year, and we've ran that same offense. The same offense we started with Dan Campbell was calling the plays. The same offense we're running now. But Ben Johnson's calling it. It's a little bit different, but our talents got better. So we're gonna get better offensively.
Yeah, right.
That's just what I look at, man. And I look at our team, and I look at you guys, and I think it's gonna be a close game, to be honest. If we're gonna be totally honest, and it's gonna be who has the ball last, to be honest. And if things do break our way and we are able to run the ball on you guys, which I think we can, that's where it could shift. But
for sure,
it's all a matter of circumstance in the playoff. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think that's what it comes down to. So, but I appreciate you guys for coming on, though. This has been awesome, and everybody's enjoyed this because we got all the comments, and they're totally in on this playoff run. So it was good. It was good to have you guys on. Hopefully we'll see each other in the future, which we will. I guarantee that.
Definitely.
It's good to maintain a relationship with you guys because I think we're definitely going to be meeting each other multiple times in the future. So you guys have a lot of staying power. So it's gonna be a lot of fun to watch this game, and may the best team win.
No, yeah, definitely. Thanks for having us on. I mean, I think it's going to be a fun game. Everyone loves the offensive back and forth, and I think that's what it'll be. So I think it should be a lot of points. The line's like the line is the highest that it's been like all year or something. 55, right?
55 and a half.
55.5. Yeah.
And it keeps bouncing back and forth like 55, 56, 57. I was like, oh my God, like this is
crazy. So
this is getting like Big 10, Big 12. Remember the Big 12 days where like it'd be like the spread would be like 60 and a half, and you're like, holy hell, man. Like,
that's crazy.
There ain't gonna be no defense play, but I think they're pricing in that, and I think they look at these two offenses, to be honest, and Jane Daniels, Jared Goff, you guys got McLaurin, and Robinson. He's having a rough year, but he still could rattle off some runs, though, for sure.
Yeah.
So Jane Daniels being your leading rusher, I mean, there is definitely concerns that I see from this team. So it's gonna be fun to watch, and I think you guys are gonna be in it at the end. But it's gonna come down to a run game, man, in terms of us. Because if you guys can stop us, that's a big feather in your cap, and I think he'll be in the game at the end of the game. So it'll be interesting to see how it goes.
Definitely. Yeah, no, appreciate having us on. Looking forward to the game on Saturday.
Yeah, Saturday. This whole week has been thrown off for me because I was like, I think we're gonna play Sunday, but if the Rams and Vikings when you guys won, I was like, oh, we're playing Saturday.
Yeah,
they weren't letting the Rams and Vikings play on a Saturday after they played on Monday. So
yeah, true.
it is what it is. But thank you guys for for everyone watching. That this has been a good one, and we'll play it out. But this is Tae and Todd from the Commanders podcast, and look, we're gonna be probably doing this in the future, so it's good to meet you guys, and definitely we'll talk again for sure.
Sounds good. Appreciate you having us.